this is Danish. I'm back with our free community webinar sessions where we invite the experts like Ryan to discuss the immigration, citizenship, taxes, and company formation topics, to bring you the free knowledge. Of course, this all free community sessions are not possible without our generous supporters. So I'm going to give them like a big shout out. Quickly going to share my screen. So the Safety Wing, they have incredible insurance products for digital nomads or expats, and you can buy them even if you are already on your trip. So check them out, $42 a month or something, quite famous in digital nomad space. Second shout out, visadb.io. I'm the founder, so it's actually a marketplace to hire immigration and tax experts around the world like Ryan. So you can quickly go to search experts and you can see we have experts from 70 countries, and you can click on anything. For example, Malta residency program, and then you can click chat with John. Well, it's John, but Ryan will be there. Ryan and John is a part of the same company. Third big shout I want to give is a Mercury Bank, guys. So it's a free business banking account. Most of the digital nomads open their LLC or business in the United States. They are not from there, so they cannot open a bank account without a residency, but with Mercury, they actually offer free business banking account. Plus, if you click on a link, you get $200 cash. So first, it's a free 4-hour business account, and then you get $200 cash on top. These are the nature of the product right now. Companies are actually paying us. So these are the shout out. I will be back. And today I'm really honored and excited to introduce our guest today, Ryan from Latitude. He is in Malta. He's been working in this residency program for about 9 years. So he's a veteran. He knows all about it. He's going to share all the knowledge with us. Ryan, really showing my gratitude. Thank you very much for joining. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I mean, great to be here again, Danish, and thank you for the invite, and thank you for all the people that we have joining us. I'm pretty sure we will make today a very interesting and exciting conversation. I really have to say, I love the way you organize these things. It's not a boring presentation where it's just me talking, but it's a free flowing conversation. And I'm happy to really share with you, what is it that Malta has to offer? What are the really unique benefits of the Malta Permanent Residency program, and what is it that clients are looking for, and why do they end up going through the process? Obviously, we'll have time hopefully to talk about as well the handheld support and approach that we take to the application journey, and hopefully some questions as well that I get to clarify for everybody. So.
Yeah. That's gonna be exciting. Let's just dive in straight away. So, why Malta? So, recently, last few years, Malta got traction. We started hearing about Malta in digital nomad spaces or in expats communities. That Malta is an ideal country. So, I will start with this: why Malta is getting famous? What is so special about Malta as a country?
Look, I mean, I think the best way to answer that is that, without really mentioning, other programs and why Malta is why Malta's program is better, I think we really have to forget about the program and just really talk about what's Malta why is it attracting so many people? And you look at, for example, the gaming industry. Not many people know that the biggest hub in the world for the gaming online, because is actually in Malta. So that brings a huge expat community in Malta, over 35,000 people. You talk about the biggest gaming companies, Sky, Bet365, Betson, they're all here in Malta. So obviously they're already creating that nomadic, expatriate island living experience, which in itself is very, very attractive. It kind of puts, or has put Malta on the map for a number of reasons. And with that, then, we've had really a brilliant pro-business government that has been, issuing the right policies at the right time. Malta is just, under 500,000 population, and we're very nimble, thank God, when it comes to issuing certain policies, and that enables us. I mean, you talk about, for example, crypto. Malta was quite advanced, compared to other countries. Now, the next big thing is actually the cannabis industry. So whilst a lot of countries have been talking about it, in Malta, policy done, it's legal. You can now grow cannabis. Actually, there's medical cannabis, and huge companies looking at Malta. So a number of things that is actually putting Malta on the map. Then, of course, you look at this program, which is really the cherry on the cake, which really facilitates for people that want to come here, especially non-Europeans that are looking at getting uh, access to a European Union country. They want a residency in a European country, an English-speaking country. Then it's only Malta, right? There's no other officially English-speaking country. So that's where Malta really stands out.
Okay, so if I summarize it, you said that it's a smaller population, so that means less red tape. They can innovate their economy, is the best for gaming, and you already mentioned marijuana industry is booming. And Sevash already asked if weed is legal in Malta. We will get back to the question and answer, Sevash. It seems like yes. I'm in Toronto. It is legal here, but I'm sure in Malta as well. Or Ryan will answer. So pro-government policies is one of the another thing. Yeah. So I think we know also Estonia is a similar example where where we
That's
are
fine.
actually dog here. So where we are actually we have seen that they were really innovative, very fast because of the smaller population, pro business government. So thank you very much, Ryan. I will get further into the programs and the visa. So let's say if somebody decided, okay, Malta is going to be their home, and how we are going. So what are the options generally? Let's say if we talk about if I want to move to Malta, what are the visa options are available today? And then we will dive into other programs, other residency programs.
Sure. So look, I mean, we're really quite spoiled for choice here in Malta. I mean, there's a number of solutions that are available. What we tend to focus on is the ones that are really smooth in terms of the process. It's hence why they're called a program, because you know exactly when to start, you know what the requirements are, and you know exactly when you're going to complete the process and get your residency. So it is more than a visa that you would get. And for example, the program that we will cover today, which is the Malta Permanent Residency Program, it is a 3 to 4 months process once the application is set up. And in total, the journey, you're looking at around 6 months. So in 6 months' time, an applicant, without really having visited Malta, because all of it can be done remotely, is going to get permanent residency. So people will say, well, what does that mean? There's so many forms of residency. What does permanent residency mean? What permanent residency means is you get an indefinite permit, one that you do not have to renew, one that is actually passed on to generations of families. So 4 generation of family can apply at one go, meaning the main applicant and let's say the spouse and kids, but both both main applicants, so the spouse and the main applicant, can include their parents and their grandparents, right? And that's something very, very attractive the applicants find, which is they're getting residency, and they don't really have to move to Malta straight away, right? However, those that do intend to move to Malta, you're going to get the benefit of being able to live in Malta. You're going to be able to work in Malta because it facilitates your work permit as well, and you're going to be able to move around in the Schengen area as well.
Okay, that sounds incredible. So there are traditional routes, like you can go to there as a student, or you can, if you hired, like if you found a job, you can get a work permit. But the residency program we're talking about today does not require that you're married to a Maltese or you have a job there
Correct.
or you have to study there, right? You can
Correct.
get residency directly, correct?
Correct. So you've really nailed it, Danish, because the like, for example, you talk about students. I mean, in Malta, just to get an idea, really, I mean, our population is around just under 500,000. We get around 100,000 students per year. That's like 25% of our population is made up of students. Why do they come here? They come here to, mostly, take English courses, because Malta is very popular for that. There's a process for that, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's not an easy process, but it's a quite a complex process that one would have to apply, find a school. The school would need to get you confirmation. Whereas this program is very, very straightforward. As long as you are of age, as long as you have a clear background, no criminal activity, etc., and you can show that you have the right assets. In this case, for Malta, you need to demonstrate that you have 500,000 in assets. That could be anything, your property, your business, funds in the account, stocks, bonds, income. It could be literally a mix of all of that. As long as you qualify for that, then you are eligible to apply. And you can include, as I said, all the family members.
So if I ask you like a separate question about the requirements of this program, what are the requirements of this program other than 500,000? Let's say 500,000 assets. We will get further into detail what kind of assets, but if we generally talk about the main requirements, is just having a 500,000 enough, or are there any other requirements?
No, so look, once you can demonstrate that you have the 500,000 in assets, and 150,000 of which need to be liquid. Why? Because that's how much really the program will cost you over a span of 5 years. Yeah, it's the lowest really capital outlay program that you will find that gives you permanent residency in the whole of Europe. Once you demonstrate that, then you qualify to apply. Obviously, there's a number of requirements that you need to meet. One of which is that upon submission of the application, you only need to pay 10,000. But upon the approval, once the minister approves your application, then you need to contribute you need to make the contribution payment to the government. You also need to take up health insurance, and you also need a place where to stay. Why? Because it's a permanent residency program. You need a place where to stay, right? But those are basically the requirements that one would need. We will handle the whole application process and advise what supporting documents are required. And we'll
Sounds good. So if we further dive into, let's say, I will ask you two questions. So you apply for that and you get direct permanent residency.
correct.
This is
Without
incredible.
even having visited.
Okay, without having visited. This is, I think this is why we wanted to organize this event, because normally to get a permanent residency, you need to have a temporary residency first.
Correct.
And then permanent. It takes few years. And here we are getting a direct permanent residency. So my question would be, what is the total processing time of your application? If I submit it today, when I will have my permanent residency in my hand?
Very good. I like to answer that, Danish, by giving the full picture. So I said earlier, it's a 3 to 4 months processing from the government's side, which, by the way, it is a separate government agency, which is pretty much run as if it's a private entity. And that's why you know when to start and you know when to finish. So 3 to 4 months for the application. On average, our applicants take around 1 to 2 months for the application compiling. We've had applicants who did it in 3 weeks, but obviously it depends on your motivation, and it depends on how quickly you can provide us with the supporting documentation. We will handle everything else, but the supporting document, if we ask for a marriage certificate, we can't create one. The applicant has to provide us with one. So on average, it's 1 to 2 months for the application compiling, 3 to 4 months for the application processing, and then roughly another month for the applicant to actually, for the applicant to visit and collect their biometrics. So the process would finish at a time where a certificate is issued and that's permanent residency. But on top of that, they actually are able to then apply for the travel card, which is basically what everyone will be looking for as well. Not just spend time in Malta, but they can travel around all of the European Schengen countries as well. In total, on average, you're looking around 6 months. Now,
6 months.
we've had applicants that manage, because they only took 3 weeks in the beginning, to have their card in hand in 5 months. We've had others who took their time, and it took them 8 and 9 months. So it really depends on the individual.
Sounds good. So I will ask you further detail. Let's say we will also jump into the question and answers, a few questions we have, and I also have a lot of questions. So once I have this permanent residency, what is the total, what is the path to citizenship? After how many years I can apply for the Maltese passport?
Very good. So that's a question that I'd like to answer very clearly. You will find 101 different answers, but the real answer is that because Malta has a citizenship program, number one, it's a separate program. Number two, it has been always very careful on the issuance of citizenship, being a very small country. It is not an easy pathway into citizenship, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, an applicant that would have resided in Malta for 4 years consecutively will qualify to apply for citizenship. So basically, that is the legal and correct answer. They would qualify to apply for citizenship. In terms of granting citizenship, that is at the discretion of the minister, and it's all about the genuine links. So someone that simply has satisfied 4 years will qualify to apply, but may not very easily lead to being granted citizenship. More time would need to be spent here in Malta for one to actually be naturalized, because that's really the process of naturalization.
Sure. Sounds good. So now I will ask you, I'm playing with the dogs as well. So you see me, I'm moving around because they are need attention, So apologies for that. So, so this program is actually for the people who wants to have a residency and continue with the residency, because I know a lot of people, they just want to keep the residency because first they cannot have their dual citizenship because of certain, passports. Correct. Second, they just want to have access. So my question would be, what are the top benefits, if not the passport, what are the top benefits of this program? One, I think you mentioned about traveling in the European Union, but maybe you can say it again, and other benefits you think if somebody get this program.
Sure. Look, I mean, first and foremost, if someone's looking at Europe, right, they need to pick a country, because that's how residency works. You cannot pick a country and then live in another. That's citizenship and not residency, right? So when it comes to someone, a family, an individual, a successful entrepreneur that wants to move, wants to do business from another country and say, okay, look, I'd like to, get the European lifestyle. I want to live in a European country. I want to spend most of my time in a European country. That's fine. So, once it gets to that stage where, and even in our consultations with applicants, that's what we cover. It's about choosing the right country before you even look at the rest of the benefits. So where Malta stands out is the program itself is one which is very, very favorable to the applicant. They're getting PR straight away. They don't have to commit to much more to really graduate from temporary residence to permanent residency. For those applicants that want to, are looking it up and say, we want the absolute lowest capital outlay. We don't want to spend a lot of money to get this privilege. Then Malta, once again, ticks that box because it's the lowest capital outlay permanent residency program in the whole of Europe.
Wow.
The third thing is, if applicants are looking for an EU country which, is an officially English-speaking country, then again, Malta ticks the box there. In terms of travel access, whether you go to Portugal, whether you go to Greece, whether you go to Spain, whether you come to Malta, they're all giving you the same access. They're all part of the Schengen. But the question is, where would you want to spend most of your time? Because all of these EU residency will give you one common thing, which is, you can't spend more than 3 months in another country. right? So the question is always, and then this is where the next, part of the conversation is. You want to choose a safe country. Malta is amongst the safest in the world, right? You want to choose a country whereby if you've got kids who are, you'd like to bring over with you, you want a good education system. So Malta scores very high on the education system, and also scores very high in terms of, the cost for education. Sometimes when we have applicants, they'll say, "Are you sure? Is that how much it really costs? Can you double check again for us?" That's how education, cost compared to let's say the country that they're coming from is. Even we have certain applicants who are coming not just from the US, but we have people coming from Britain, people coming from African countries, from the Middle East, and they all say the same thing, that the education system here in Malta is very strong, and also not so expensive. There's other things as well. Doing business in Malta is great. It's bang in the middle of the Mediterranean, so you're getting the European, culture, but you're also getting access to north of Africa, etc.
Wow. So you mentioned something family. So it seems like it's a good place to move with a family. So my question would be, does that program allows to add family members?
Correct. It actually is one of I would say the few programs that would allow you to add in one application submission 4 generations of family,
Oh,
as I explained earlier, right?
wow.
4 generations of families. But not only that, right now, in fact, we're actually having families who, at the time when they applied, their kids were 14. Now they're 15, 18, 20, and they're saying to us, they are looking at getting married. Can you please confirm that the spouse will also be able to get residency? And the answer is yes. Or if they have more kids, can they also get residency? The answer is yes.
Wow.
We've had applicants who were single applicants, and then 2-3 years down the line they get married. They can also include the spouse. So it's very family oriented, and it's one of the things that actually applicants really score high on.
Wow. And I would like to ask you, Mary, ask another question. I will be asking, are there any other official languages beside English? And what is the language of the government in Malta?
So the other official language, so the 2 official languages, Maltese and there's English. But
Sure.
everything here in Malta, education, the legal system, it's all done in English.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So like, for example, at school, the only class that is done in Maltese actually is the Maltese language. The rest, maths, social studies, religion, it's all
Wow.
done in English.
This is I didn't know that. This is incredible. See, I also learn like new things about countries, and this kind of sparked my interest. So that's cool. So families, okay, English is perfect. So if families are moving from the US or Canada to Malta, they're gonna fit really well, easily. Their kids will fit well.
Absolutely. I mean, if you had to ask me where are most, applicants coming from, I'll tell you, hands down, it's actually from the US.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I
So
mean, the recent situation in the US as well has actually increased the amount of inquiries. People want to move with their families, with their kids, with all the shooting happening, and say, hey, can we move, have the kids in a school, and find a safe, a safe place to
wow.
actually reside.
That's incredible. So now we understand, we established that Malta is an incredible country, English speaking country. They're very open to include families. Program requirements are pretty straightforward. You mentioned the
Mhm.
processing time is up to 6 months, but if anyone have all the documents ready, then it's less, definitely less, because
Correct.
it will be do it. And you don't need to come to Malta to get this permanent residency. What will I get? Where will I get a visa or a card by post or something? How would I get this document?
Okay, so basically, in terms of documentation, everything is couriered to us. We're a licensed firm by the government, so we deal directly with the government agency. On your behalf, we will take the interview, submit the application, provide your profile, and explain, the reasons behind your application and the supporting documentation. Once the process is complete, what you would be issued with would be the approval in principle subject to fulfilling the other obligations, which once again we're supporting you to do. So when it comes to health insurance, property, and all of that, we're supporting you again remotely. You don't have to be here for that.
Sure.
And then at the final stage, you are issued with a certificate, which is the certificate of residency. That is your permanent certificate, right?
Sure.
Sorry, your permanent residency.
Wow.
And then the reason why you need to come is to take your biometrics, because those you cannot take in Toronto, you cannot take in the US.
Sure.
You need to be here in Malta for the biometrics. So at that stage, you are then basically invited to come to Malta. You take your biometrics, and then in literally 3 working days, you will have your residency card, which you can use to really travel around in all of the Schengen countries.
Wow, that sounds incredible. And once I become a once I become a resident, and I have my business, let's say, outside of Malta, do I need to pay taxes on those income in Malta?
So let me rephrase just to make sure I understand. So you're saying you have your business outside of Malta,
Yeah.
right? You are spending time in Malta, and you're asking me whether you're paying tax on the profit made by your business.
Yes. Yes.
The answer is no.
Okay.
And to be clear, it's because the programs, in this particular case, the permanent residency program, but also the citizenship program, will not affect your tax regime at all, will not affect your tax status, will not affect your tax status.
Oh,
Malta,
wow.
the tax is based on domicile and not on your residency.
Oh, wow. This may be some of the digital nomads may be smiling right now, because we have a very, very complicated tax situations, because we're moving around, and so
Correct.
that's really good to know, Ryan. And one of the last questions I want to ask, what kind of profile the government or this program is kind of targeting, like maybe very rich people or tech entrepreneurs? What kind of profile is ideal for this program?
Look, I mean, the real answer, we've seen a variety of profiles, and if there's one thing that I have to say when it comes to this particular program, because it's so versatile in terms of its benefits. For example, let me be clear. We have a good number of South Africans applying. And the reason they're applying is they have a very good business in South Africa, but at the back of their mind is they don't know if they'll wake up tomorrow, and they would all want to move. So one of the program benefits is that once you've attained your PR, your permanent residency, there is no minimum requirement of days spent in Malta to maintain it. Therefore, we have families that would get the PR and they will say, Ryan, you're not going to see me here for the next few years, I hope, because I have a good business going on in South Africa. Maybe my wife and kids will come and spend some time there. But what I do want is, if things go south, I know I can pack my luggage and come to Malta and access the European Union with no issues whatsoever. So can you see that that's something that is actually the alternative to someone that says, I'm going to apply, I'm going to get the PR, and I'm going to move to Malta as soon as, right? So it caters for both two scenarios. So one profile is they're looking to move now. Another profile is they're good with what they have going in their country, but at the back of their mind, they want plan B as well,
As a
right?
backup. Yeah.
As a backup plan.
It's a good strategy. I'm an immigrant myself. It's actually whatever, even if you're a worker or whatever stage you are in the life, it's always good to strategize for at least two passports. There's so many frameworks, two flag theory and other. It's actually good for so many reasons, not only that you want to live there, but also, we live in a very weird world right now. So it's always a good idea to have a backup for security reasons, for other kind of reasons, lifestyle reasons as well. We digital nomads, of course, we have different reasons, a different agenda. We have to have a tax, and also, as you mentioned, we don't need to reside physical. This is the huge point for us digital nomads, that I don't need to spend days to maintain my residency. I think this is ideal because that's what we are doing. We're traveling around, and we don't want to have this tension that every year I have to spend 6 months back home or something, right?
Correct. Maybe. I mean, Danish mentioning so much about Nomad. I mean, we don't have the time today, and maybe it's another webinar that we would do. But Malta has also recently launched its Nomad, its digital Nomad program as well.
Wow. Malta Digital Nomad Visa. Yes, we will be definitely hosting a webinar around that soon. Today was specifically for the residency program
I know.
Without spending a second time. So, Ryan, it's already 3 minutes over. Okay, so Pascal said, I'm convinced, but don't have the 500,000. So I think, I wanted to ask you last question. That would be our closing question. Is 500, it has to be like cash, or it can be a value of a property or something?
Good. Actually, it could be anything that the applicant owns. Therefore, a typical profile that we would have would definitely be, most of that amount is covered by the property that they own, wherever they come from. But it could also be coupled with, some funds they have in an account, some bonds, some stocks, a business valuation that they have, an inheritance that they got. So it could be a mix of things, as long as they can demonstrate that they have that in assets. Maybe something I would want to also add, Dinesh, the fact that now there is also the digital nomad, and we have entrepreneurs who really starting off right now with some startups, and they say, well, I do not have 500,000 in assets, I don't even own property, then this program will not be for them at this moment in time. It might be if their startup really goes well. So they actually start looking then at the digital nomad, which is still an access to Malta. It's not permanent, it's temporary, you can only renew it twice. So it is nowhere close to what the permanent residency is, but it's a start. It's still giving you access to a very vibrant country such as Malta. So
this is good to know. And adding on top of that, yes, there are several options. If you have it has to be cash. If you have assets which value about 500,000, then this program is ideal. It's fast, quick. Don't need to go there. But if you're not in a situation right now, hopefully you will be in the future. But right now, if you're not, then digital nomad visa is your option, which we will be hosting another webinar around that. Sivash asked, does the ad be based in the applicant's home country, or it could be anywhere?
Does the assets have to be in the applicant? No, can be anywhere, as long as you can prove that they're your assets.
Okay, sure. So Sivash, I hope this answered your questions. Please, guys, we have like 30 seconds. If you want to ask any questions, you can right now type in. We have an expert for 9 years of experience, and but one thing I want to mention again, that if you want to reach out to Ryan, if you have any follow-up questions, you can reach out to him. It's a free consultation Ryan offers. John and Ryan offers free consultation. So feel free to ask them any questions, So that's gonna be no issue, no problem at all. They will be happy to answer. They are our partners, and they not only offer Malta, but many other countries, and they are government approved company from maybe I think 13 or 14 countries. So they're out there for a long time, and they're our community approved experts. So please reach out to them. Feel free to reach out to them and ask all your questions. And yes, we will be organizing with Ryan or from their team for the digital nomad visa soon. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. I'm really grateful. And Ryan, sir, really, really thank you very much for your time. And I want to show my gratitude on the behalf of 150,000 digital nomads who are not here today, but they will be watching the replay. They will be watching on the YouTube. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and have a good day.
You're welcome. Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, everybody. I've just left my email address there as well, so feel free to get in touch. Happy to assist you further.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.